spell your name for me, Deron.
Deron, D-E-R-O-N, Brunson, B-R-U-N-S-O-N.
And you were there?
Yeah, I was there. I was watching him. I was probably about, if you look at the stage and you look at about maybe 3 o'clock from his position, about 3 o'clock, 2:30, that's where I was. I was right at him, and I was looking at him when I heard it looked like it was a direct shot to the heart. It looked like right where his heart is, it started going red. He fell back and went to his side, and then I looked down at the crowd, and it looked like the crowd, they all went to their knees really fast. I kind of didn't go to my knees as fast as everybody because I wanted to see if anyone who was close to the shooter would be trampling all over that person, and I saw nothing like that at all. It just, everyone had dropped down, and for a few moments they were just not moving. And people started getting up and moving, and the crowd started pushing me, and they pushed me so that I was basically backstage. And then when I was kind of backstage, I was kind of there, and I turned and looked, and they were arresting a guy by the name of George Zinn, who I know, I've met him before.
How do you know him?
I just know him through, I've seen him at different events. He was always a person that would go to Trump rallies and all kinds of political events. He was always there, and he would always make his way. He was always there for people that were running for different positions in government, whatever. So he's just kind of I think he's kind of popular. He was just kind of, but he's not altogether. He was being arrested very calm. They arrested him, they took him.
And you're confident it was him?
No, I'm confident of who they arrested. They arrested a guy by the name of George Zinn.
Well, I'm not saying he was the shooter. You're confident that's who they were arresting was this George?
Yeah, who they arrested was George Zinn. Oh, yeah, because I know him. I saw him.
But you're not saying he's the shooter?
No, I'm not.
I want to make sure we're clear, so we don't want to falsely accuse someone of this.
Right.
So,
in my opinion, I don't think George Zinn was the shooter.
Okay.
This would have had to been a direct shot to the heart. It had to been by somebody who can withstand the pressures of a crowd, not be nervous, and just one shot right directly to the heart, and then get away with it. This guy's broke. He lives on Social Security, probably on some medication, too crazy. I don't know if he even knows how to use a gun or even get his hands on the gun.
Well,
now, why isn't that important to you? Why is that information important to you?
Because I don't want us to falsely accuse him and get his name out there as he's possibly the shooter. If he's not, I don't want to. He could be a suspect.
Yeah, I'm saying he's not. I'm not giving you my opinion. You should want to know. If you're a journalist, an investigative journalist, you would say, yeah, that's very interesting.
It is.
Direct shot to the heart. They all fall down. They pick a guy that's kind of crazy. It has nothing like that. It has to be, when you're in a crowd, you got to be calm, cool, collected. And if it's a handgun, you're going to aim it right directly and get off that one shot. And then nobody's going to tramp around you. Where exactly was this shooter is what I'd like to know.
That's what we're trying to find out. We've got other crews around. It's not just me. We've got a bunch of other crews that's looking into that. Like I said, I just don't want to falsely accuse him. They arrest him because they think he's a suspect. Okay, sure, a person of interest. Let me put it that way. Okay. Going back to your experience, once you said you got pushed almost backstage, correct?
Yeah, the crowd was going backstage, so I got up and went with the crowd.
You kind of went with the flow.
Backstage, and I just kind of hung around backstage as the crowd went ahead of me. And I was curious, what's going on? And then that's when I turned to look, and I saw George Zimmerman, and I actually saw them put the cuffs on him. Very calm, very collected, and they just scooted him down. And as he was scooting him down, I don't know what happened, but his pants fell down, so he's in his underwear.
Okay. Have you been to Charlie?
I almost wanted to say, George, did you do it? Did you do it? But I was that close, I could have yelled at him, but I didn't.
Have you gone to events like this in the past?
No, I haven't.
What brought you out here today? Why did you want to hear him?
I'm kind of a fan of Charlie Kirk, and some friends invited me to come, and I thought, yeah, I'd come. I've watched some of his videos, and I like a lot of the things that he's talked about, what he's been.
I'm guessing from the hat that you voted for the current president.
Yeah, and they were throwing out these hats, and I happened to be someone in the crowd that got one.
Were you hoping to get a question or talk to Charlie Kirk at all?
I just wanted to be there and observe and see what was happening.
How many people would you say were there at the event?
I don't know. I would say maybe 3,000 or 4,000 people. They're around that ball, at least 1,000. But an interesting thing is he was shot right during a question about guns, and that was the second person asking a question on the subject of guns. Most importantly, was talking about these transvestites that have guns, and should they be allowed to have a gun? And then boom, He was shot in the heart. And that's just too suspect for me.
It's a big coincidence, for lack of a better term. Were you guys escorted out by police? Did they just tell you to disperse?
I think there weren't enough people there. There were so many people there, there weren't enough police presence to just tell you. Everyone was just kind of following the crowd as we followed the crowd. And then when I watched George Zinn get arrested and followed him to the car, I think all the police were busy there. There wasn't enough police presence to basically push anybody off.
So it was just, you got out on your own, eventually ended up here. You said you were kind of like in the crowd getting jostled. You okay? You heard it all?
Yeah.
You're fine.
It's just the crowd was moving and you go with the crowd. Everyone's saying, go, you got to go this way. So
sure.
You just follow the crowd, that's what you do.
When you look back on this and think, at the beginning of the day, this is going to be a great Charlie Kirk rally.
It's very exciting to see Charlie Kirk there, and the crowd loved him. They were cheering for him. He came out really happy, throwing out these caps, into the audience. And like I said, I got one, and then he started just first question came up, and they went through that, and then the second question came up about guns, and boom, he was shot. And my first reaction was, is this staged? I thought it was like staged. I couldn't believe that it was really happening as it was happening. I thought it was staged.
What do you think about it now? You look across this massive police presence, traffic's kind of a snarled. Well, what are your thoughts now about this?
In my opinion, I think it's just too much police presence. They blow up something. I think it doesn't take a lot to just figure out what's happening, to get in there and find out everybody that was there. They should put information to say, hey, does anybody have any information? Find out, anything that's there. They should do that. And that's what they should be on that right now. They have a list of almost everybody that you had to get you could get online to get a ticket. So a lot of students like myself, I thought you had to have a ticket to get in.
I heard you could just walk right in, right?
Yeah, you could just walk right in, but I thought you had to have a ticket.
Did you sign up anywhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a place to sign up, the students can sign up for tickets to go right in.
Okay.
So I think they really need to put a lot of information on that. That should be all over that. They need to find out who is there 2 days, Tuesdays before, 3 days, and find out all the places you could be where that you could get a direct shot like that.
Okay. George, I appreciate your time. Glad you're okay.
My name is Deron.
Darren, I'm sorry. George is the other guy. You kept saying George, so that's the name that's popped into my head. Well, I appreciate your time.
Well, good luck. Huh?
Yeah, good luck to you guys too. Stay safe.
Taking statements?
Sorry, what?
Are you still taking statements?
As I was approaching
That's all right.
the doors.
No worries, I'll stay here. Possibly.
I was in the question line.
You were in the question line? Would you feel comfortable saying anything else on camera?
There's many things I would like to say on camera because let me tell you where my head's at.
You want to do it on camera or do you want to get this out first?
Absolutely.
Okay. You can just stay right there. I'll turn the camera to you.
Okay.
I'm going to put that on right there. You can just, I think, I've got to turn that on. Hold down to that. First question's the easiest. What's your name?
My name's Austin Hunsinger.
Spell your name for me, Austin.
Hunsinger.
And
common spelling for Austin.
okay. And you were in the crowd. You were in the question line, right? So, first things first. I hate to have you go over it again, but what happened?
Well, I can tell you that us standing in the question line, there were a bunch of different people with a bunch of different people who were all talking to each other. I was helping a person of a different viewpoint actually role play to ask Charlie Kirk a question. And we were all laughing, joking, sharing, asking each other, what's your question? What's your question? And all the shooter did today is take the ability for us to come together and share different discussions, and they completely took that away from us. And anybody that has any idea of doing something like this in the future, that is all you're doing is taking away our ability as Americans. Myself as a veteran, I love situations like this where different people can come together with different viewpoints, and all you did was strip that ability for us to talk and have discourse and share ideas with each other. You stripped that away from us and just drove us further apart.
What did you see when you were in line and the shooting happened? Kind of describe that.
We were all watching Charlie. Well, the first question was a question about LDS, which, of course, typical Utah, right?
Of course, sure.
Oddly enough, the very second question that was asked when it happened had to do with transgender shooters, right? And I'm not saying that the shooter was transgender. I have no idea, and I don't think it's right for anybody to speculate as to whether or not that shooter was transgender. But conveniently enough, the very question that was being answered while Charlie got shot was a question about shooters and transgender. And the fact of the matter is that the shooter has issues. It's not whether or not they're transgender. It's not whether or not they're white, black, yellow, orange, green, like guys, like girls. What matters is the fact that this person has issues, that they feel murder is the way to resolve those issues.
You mentioned that you were a veteran.
Yeah.
When this happened, what did you do?
These are the types of situations where I served in Afghanistan in 2011. Gunshots aren't a foreign thing to me. I had actually had this discussion with other spectators, how what Charlie was put in was a bull, an absolute kill box, right?
Okay.
It's just a bull with him on one end, and he does have an evacuation tunnel, which was great. But I had the discussion with them on, hey, heaven forbid something happens today, this is what you need to do. Get up against the wall, go out through the tunnel. It's the safest way out. And when everything happened, that's exactly what I did. I said, everybody up against the wall, go out through the tunnel, everybody get down. And it was just sheer panic. Sheer panic.
Could you tell where the shot even came from?
In a small enclosed space like that, and like I said, what we call it kill box, there's no telling. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave that up to investigators
Sure.
and professionals to do that. But in a confined space like that, I don't care what anybody says. It's virtually impossible to tell what direction it's shot.
When you look across the street now and you see this, massive is an understatement. This is just growing police presence. What goes through your mind as you see this?
I think it's a testament to Charlie Kirk's influence, both positive and negatively for those that are posting politically. And I think that Utah cares about what happens in Utah, and I think that people are dedicated to getting to the bottom of what happened.
Yeah.
I was there, and I couldn't tell you whether or not somebody was arrested. I looked around to see if police had anybody down. It was such a confined and packed-in space. The fact that and I'm not trying to be speculative, but the fact that there are people still intact here raises questions as to whether or not the shooter actually was caught. Because I didn't see a single person in custody. I didn't see a single person on the ground. I didn't see anybody getting taken down. And in a constitutional carry state, you would think that people around the shooter would respond by trying to eliminate the threat, and I didn't see that happening at all.
It's obvious that this country is incredibly divided, politically, religiously. Something like this happens. Does this further divide the country, or does it kind of maybe start snapping people out of it to, okay, we really got to come together and stop crap like this from happening, no matter what, as you said, what they think, politically, whatnot. Does it divide us or bring us together, do you think?
If it brings us together, it scares me for what? What does it bring us together for? Who does it bring it together, and how do they respond, right? The thing is that Charlie Kirk isn't going to save us. Donald Trump isn't going to save us. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, no politician, no celebrity is going to save this country. The thing that's going to save this country is when we start looking in the mirror and realizing that we as a people are the problem, not anybody that you elect. And if you don't exercise your right to vote or run for office, then these same people who don't have your interests as a priority are going to, and it's just going to continue. And the problem is we have about a 2-week memory. About 2 weeks from now, everybody's going to forget and move on to the next TikTok, the next YouTube, the next Instagram Reels thing. We can't forget, and the only thing that we can do is look to ourselves and our families
said. Well said. Anything else you want to say about today, or?
That's all I wanted to say. Is
Okay.
that nobody's going to say this.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Good luck to you. Thank you for your service too, as
Absolutely.
you mentioned. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
Why do we have to